गुड मॉर्निंग एंड वेलकम टू गाना शॉट। गाना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। Today we're going to examine if there's a necessity of a new Russia-India-China compact. Is it needed? Well, by logical thinking, the way we've been doing things for the past 5-10 years, people will say no. Even I would have said, in fact, I did say a couple of months back, this is a concept which is not there, not worth it. But today, you need a rethink. But how? Why? What kind of a compact will this be? These are the issues which I thought I'll discuss with you. Because the world has changed dramatically since Pahalgam, right? And that is why I'm examining new concepts. But to give you a perspective, the Russia, India, China, compact actually started. The thought process started in the 80s. I remember at that time I was the Defense Services Staff College, and our main problem was with Pakistan. China and India were growing together. China needed peace on the Tibet border so that it could progress. And that was a time when, the MOU had, this was before the MOU with on recognizing Tibet. They wanted some leeway because they're having a lot of problems in Tibet. We needed issues. We needed a quiet Eastern Front to tackle Pakistan. That's when the talk started. Mr. Rajiv Gandhi had gone, met Deng Xiaoping. And the whole thing started. And, that enabled us to shift a few forces from the east to the west to tackle Pakistan. And that came in handy when, Op Kargil came about, or the Kargil Yudh that took place. And all this culminated in the MOU in 2003, when we recognized Tibet implicitly in that MOU as part of China, and they recognized Sikkim as part of India. So there's a lead up to this. And a little later, till about 2005-10, things were okay. WTO came about. And there was some talk of this RIC. It started taking shape in some amorphous manner. And then, of course, we had our problems with China. And slowly the problems with China increased. Incursions, X, Y, Z, and this whole thing collapsed. But why am I talking of it again? And there's a reason for it. And there's a good reason for it. And this man is the reason. Let's see what he had to say. This is a clip which I got off a few days back. Let's see what he had to say.
Representative Jameson Greer is very busy because, where are you, Jameson? Everybody wants to make a deal and have a part of it, right? I know you and Howard and Scott are working overtime, making deals with other countries. Remember a few months ago, the press was saying, do you really have anybody of any interest? Well, we just signed with China yesterday, right? Just signed with China. We have everybody. We're not going to make deals with everybody. Some we're just going to send them a letter, say, thank you very much. You're going to pay 25, 35, 45%. That's the easy way to do it. And my people don't want to do it that way. They want to do some of it, but they want to make more deals than I would do. But we're having some great deals. We have one coming up, maybe with India, very big one, where we're going to open up India. In the China deal, we're starting to open up China, things that never really could have happened. And the relationship with every country has been very good.
So he says he's going to open up India and he's going to open up China. So he's dealing even-handedly with both. And we also saw how he dealt with Pakistan, right? Okay, now let's just take this a little forward, and then we get the full angle. Now he's now talking that China and USA are getting on well with each other. Now, that's not very great news. Trump says getting along well with China, and he says he's downplaying his issues with China. Okay, there's all this today. At the same time, China has warned countries. After all, there's a tariff war going on, and tariffs are being negotiated. USA is negotiating tariffs with other countries, and they are saying, look, if you trade with us, don't trade with China type, something like that. Virtually, countries are being made to choose between USA and China, and now Chinese are warning those countries. So there's a two-toned relationship developing between China and USA. And you can't trust this fellow. You see, the fundamental thing is you can't trust him. So where does it leave you? So let's examine each angle of this whole situation holistically, individually, and then say, okay, this is the way we go forward, or this is the way we should go forward. Okay, let me put this matrix in front of you, and then we'll talk. The Western alignments with India, the West and India are natural partners kind of a story. USA and India are strategic partners. That story is proven to be largely tactical. Okay, and especially this problem started really surfacing 3 years back with the Russia-Ukraine, conflict. And from then they wanted us to be with them and against Russia, which was obviously not agreeable to us. That's what I said. West wanted India to be on their side to pressurize Russia. And that increased the moment Russia and China started becoming close. Even for us, it was not, very comfortable to see Russia and China become so close. But then, for many reasons, historical, current, even future, we can't be part of the Western camp. Then you'll suffer the same fate that these people have suffered. EU is in a bad shape, we know that. And, allies like Japan and South Korea are being treated badly, except Australia, which is lying somewhere and, it's okay. Things are not in a great shape. And they want us on their side, lock, stock, and barrel. It's not in our interest at all. Now, suddenly out of the blue, our Americans have got aligned with Pakistan to suit their interests. These are the developments which have happened. Okay. The traditional view is that the China-Pak nexus is basically a counterpoise to, US support to India. But that was also broken. That fixation is also broken, because there's a contestation in Pakistan between China and USA, which is developing, and this will take shape. I have no doubt about it. Okay. Then look at West Asia. You have West Asia where the whole scene has changed. India has good relations with everyone. You have good relations with Saudis. You have good relations with Gulf Council members. You have a great relationship going between I2U2. There's a lot of future in that. These are all, you see, a lot of contradictions coming. ASEAN is an area of promise. East Asia and ASEAN are an area of promise, and a lot of importance to us. But for some reason, our political, hierarchy has not really gone that route. There are indications that we might go that route, but they are not very clear about it. We are not very clear about it. We feel, and rightly so, that multipolarity is our only way. You have to be multipolar. And so this is the crux of the whole story. I mean, the necessity for us to be multipolar. Okay? We have to be multipolar. Now, you take the case of Global South. I'm giving you overall scan. Take the case of the Global South. Well, everyone trusts India, but when it comes to influence, we don't seem to have much. Because we can't put hard bugs there. So everyone still keeps running to USA or China or the West, in their to their old colonial masters. China, because China has invested a lot. The BRA has got a footprint in much of global south. And most of these countries are indebted to China. They listen to China. They listen to their previous masters. They listen to USA. But they trust us. But we don't have that kind of influence. Yeah. And then we have this great growth of 7.5%. I don't think anyone else in this world is growing. I mean, a big economy. Small economies are great. Big economies is growing at 7.5%. Whether you take USA, Europe, China, they're all in contraction stage. Okay. So, are we leveraging this enough? You just look at how Trump has leveraged his economy. Are we leveraging it enough? Are we weaponizing it the way it should be? A question mark. At the same time, if you want to sustain the 7.5% economic growth, you need deals with USA, you need deals with the West, Europe, Japan, Australia, because largely they need services, they need consumption, and we can give them. So our growth, to a large extent, external growth from here on, is presaged on the West, not with China. It's not with China at all. Okay. So in this kind of a construct, where does it leave you? And you have to see which is above and below. That's why I put it in that particular manner. If you look at it, see, multipolarity is our way, and RIC will be a challenge. You want to be multipolar, but Russia, India, China will be a challenge, right? So will be technology cooperation with USA. If you're going to go, you think you're going to go and get a lot of technology from USA, we are mistaken. Yesterday also we spoke about it in the evening. USA will give you nothing. They'll give you crumbs. They will want you to be in their camp and be their, slave. That's the thinking. I mean, and that's the way they are. They would say everyone should listen to me. If you listen to me, I'm your friend. Otherwise, no. Okay. And when you look at multipolarity, the obvious choice which comes back is RIC, Russia, India, China. But it has got its own challenges. It's got huge challenges. So let's examine each. And what are the drivers of this whole story? Of course, the first driver is the new US model. That's the first driver. Now, if you see, it was Clinton who said, oh, it's the economy stupid, isn't it? But that is over. Today, it has gone back, it's the military stupid. It's the military. If you see, USA is regaining its mojo through its military. Gunpoint diplomacy. It has played it, the complete West Asia is now under its grip. Anyway, USA was always under its grip. Right? It's trying to revive its economy through its military sales. Yeah, all that. Now, everyone will look up to, all the Gulf countries will look up to USA. And in any case, Trump had made a deal. If you remember, the Qatari chap gave him a Boeing, all that. So, he's using gunpoint diplomacy, if I may put it. He's also restated his Monroe Doctrine. Very importantly, USA is remilitarizing Europe. This has got implications and opportunities. Why is he remilitarizing Europe through NATO? He's saying that NATO countries must spend 5% of their GDP. Well, that's a lot. 5% of GDP is a lot. But there's a rider in this. The rider is all these countries which are in NATO need to make things as per NATO standard. Who makes things as per NATO standard? USA. So remilitarization of Europe, making everyone spend money on military, benefits USA. That's why I said it's the age of economy is over. It's a military. So remilitarized Europe helps USA. Like I said, Middle East is completely dominated by USA. As it is, they were dependent on USA for security. Now they will be even more dependent because Iran is now a loose cannon. We don't know which side Iran will go. And irrespective of what Iran does, the sentiment against USA will not go. If the sentiment against USA will not go, will the proxies get reignited or restarted? There's a $1 million question in this, new US model. It doesn't affect the US; it affects everyone else, right? Right. That's why I said there's a major threat in this entire area through Iran, which they themselves might not be able to handle. It has to be handled through USA. And then USA has come and sat in Pakistan. Like everyone says, what is the strategic value of Pakistan? With Pakistan, USA can control Iran, it can control Afghanistan, it can control China and India. 4 borders. And USA has come and sat there. And if you think he's coming just to sort out Iran, no. Right? And if you think he's going to come and help Pakistan, no. He's come and set foot in Pakistan very clear. He's more worried about India and China. He has to keep India and China in check. Okay. He might not need India. He needs India, right? But there's no doubt about that. To deal with China. Equally, he's dealing with China to deal with India. He's got, USA is playing a game which is completely, transactional. Okay. So Pakistan becomes an important piece of real estate. And that's next to us. It has various shades. And we can discuss Pakistan some other day. But we all know economy, water, the floods in Pakistan today, Balochistan, all that. And yet USA has set its foot there. He's going to destabilize Pakistan even further. Okay. Then we expect that the US focus will shift to the Western Pacific and China. There is an indication of that. But what will be the degree of this shift? We don't know. We really don't know. So this is something which we have to watch. Okay. All of a sudden, there's a talk of G2 with China in the air. Now that's bad news for us. Trump can do anything. You watch his actions rather than his talk. So what is the net thing? USA is not only completely transactional, it is completely unreliable. So we have to rethink this model of, India, US strategic partnership. This is the partnership of the century, all that. I've spoken of it. But it's a two-way street. Does USA consider India as its strategic partner for the century? Especially now, because whatever has happened in the Gulf or in Iran-Israel war, it has dumped China into the sidelines, geostrategic sidelines. China is great economically. It has only to be dealt economically. Militarily, it has proven to be weak. And that China senses and Trump senses. And so he's doing what he has to do. Okay. So it is in this context, this larger context, that we have to examine this business of Russia, India, and China. Okay. Let's look at Russia. Let's look at Russia. Now, a remilitarized Europe threatens Russia. As and when the Ukraine war winds down, if it winds down, even if it winds down, it's not going to be peace. A remilitarized Europe will keep troubling Russia and Russia will keep troubling them. So the tit bit will go on, in which case Russia needs people. Where will it go? It will go to India and China. There no other place because he is good with both. Very clearly, the Russian economy and its military have been weakened. So that's what I've said. Russia needs China and India to revive itself and thwart EU plus USA. Let's not then have any doubts. EU plus USA is a headache for Russia. And at this point of time, Russia rubbing China the wrong way also won't go far because he needs a secure flank. Of course, there is an issue that Russia has deep issues with, China. And those issues are positive and of late negative issues are also coming out. There's a recent report where Russia has mentioned China as an adversary. Okay. So there's a negativity and the positivity. It's nebulous. It was not as strong as it could be. Now, Russia very firmly believes that, look, RIC is important because it will balance US in the West from its own perspective. Because just Russia and India won't balance the West. Russia and China also won't balance the West. But Russia, India, and China will balance USA and Europe. Okay. So this is it. So Russia is the biggest proponent of this concept. And it is virtually Russia is the arrowhead of this Russia, India, China concept. Okay. So he's all for it. And they've said it as late as last month. Well, let's look at the China factor. The RIC. Let's get to C and then we'll get to I. China's biggest worry is USA. There's no doubt about it. Its ambition to replace USA is strong, irrespective of everything else. All other factors aside, China believes its time has come and it should replace USA. And it should replace the global order led by USA with the Chinese-led order. That is given. Okay. And for that, it very carefully chose SCO and BRICS. This SCO and BRICS are the platforms for a Sino-centric world order. Now, these are conflated with BRI, GSI, GDI, and GCI. Right? And it knows very well that India opposes BRI and CPEC. It's never. And it also opposes the Sino-centric phraseology, which comes out of GSI and, things like that. Common destiny of mankind. That kind of talk we have not accepted. Right? We have our own angle in in SCO and BRICS. We'll talk of it. Why should we give up our position there? A lot of people have said, no, quit SCO, quit BRI. No, we can't. We can't. And I'll talk of it. China is betting big on technology. But for that technology, it needs USA because the interdependency. Where it has some technology which it can give to USA, there is a lot of technology which it needs from USA. So there's an interdependency which is built. But we all know China is internally weak. There's a political weakness, there's an economic weakness, and there's a military weakness. Okay. More than the economic weakness, the military weakness and the political weakness have come forth in this Iran-Israel war. They couldn't act. As simple as that. They stand marginalized geopolitically. No one is bothered. Their relationship with Russia is of convenience. We know that also. And Pakistan, which is their iron brother, poses a new conundrum. They're too invested. They thought they'll balance India through Pakistan. And they want to probably entrap USA and Pakistan. The other way might come about. They suddenly find that Pakistan is not that reliable as they thought, and Pakistan is a weak ally which cannot balance India. In fact, the Chinese worry is what happens if tomorrow India completely overwhelms Pakistan. They're worried. So, where do they go? After all, China is a country which doesn't have anyone, any friends. So it seeks India. And it has sought India openly. You see any of their writings, they say, look, you be our friends, we will together do what we have to do. However, there's a huge duality. It sees India as rising but weak. It feels India is weak. And it doesn't want to deal with India the way it deals with USA and Russia. It feels the global power triangle, the big country triangle is between Russia, USA, and China. India has no place in it. To a large extent, China is against India and it wants to cap or raise. We have spoken of it. Okay. It cannot let India go over to the USA. Whatever is happening between India and USA at this point of time is good news for China. China sees an opening. It also needs our markets. But it will not step back on our border issue. That border issue, they will not go back. So China is also in a situation. As much as Russia needs China, Russia needs India. China needs Russia, China needs India. Okay? To handle its own issues. So it is in this context that we need to see India, because India is the third angle of this triangle. Where do we find ourselves? The Trump administration is completely unreliable. But then this is not unique. So was the Biden administration. The Biden administration also promised much and it pulled the rug under us in Bangladesh. It played its own game. Okay. The US flip to Pakistan does not bode well. It puts a lot of restraints on us. It might. Tomorrow something happens, though we have said any act of terror is an act of war. The US presence, sooner or later, so far they have not made that full appearance, might hinder us. It hindered us earlier. In any case, the outlines of this new equation is too ambiguous. Munir is given a lunch and 2 hours are spent with this fellow, which Trump never does with anyone. He doesn't spend 2 hours with anyone. But isko wine dine kiya, wo ye bol diya, wo bol diya, and all that. And he was, given all kinds of leeway. But what are the outcomes? Now that the war is over, what will America do with Pakistan? Just give it money and leave it alone? Put some boots on ground? Operate surveillance systems? I'm sure they're already operating surveillance systems on other airports. Okay. It's too ambiguous. But there is self-interest with USA and Pakistan. For Pakistan, it suits Pakistan. That is why you see the Pakistani guy talking a lot. We'll discuss that a little later. One of the episodes, we'll see what's the new Pakistan which is emerging. We have to handle this new Pakistan differently. Having said all this, for us, there's still a mutual need with India, with USA, to continue with a strategic partnership. USA needs India, India needs USA. After all, it's still the largest market, the most profitable market, and we'll talk of that tomorrow. Okay. But these mutual needs today have limits. It's like friends with limits. And Pakistan poses fresh challenges, as I said. What is this new Pakistan? We'll have to see. So we are now in some kind of a triangle, antagonistic triangle with India, Pakistan, and USA. There's a push and pull out there, right? China still remains our challenge. It's their biggest challenge. It's not going to be easy. This is going to be a generational challenge. Even the next generation will have a challenge from China. Even if it is weak, even a weak China will give us problems. And China is not going to run away. Like I always say, China is not going to collapse the way we think a nation will collapse. It's a civilizational state. Civilizational states don't collapse. Okay, but they will also not become friends with us for reasons which I said. So it will remain our challenge. There are times when you have to engage with China. There are times when you have to disengage with China. Remember, China is still one of your largest trading partners. You have a huge adverse trade balance with them. And many of your things come from China, which you have to process and re-export. Pharma. So you are dependent on China to a large extent for your own progress. Okay. So there is an issue for you to engage and also keep China apart. So that's a challenge which we have not actually as yet been able to overcome. We have not been able to circumvent this problem. Right. In this thing, this changed Middle East is a huge opportunity for India. It poses problems. There's a problem because at this point of time, it's a cauldron. You don't know which side the cookie is going to crumble. But it has huge opportunities. And we are dependent on the Middle East for oil and fertilizers. Okay. Like someone said, why are we taking fertilizer from the East? Look, fertilizer is a byproduct of oil. You don't have a choice. That's why you take it. Okay. And we now know very clearly that India and USA are not on the same page on many issues. Everyone says that trade deal will come through very fast. I don't know. By July 9th, whether it will come through or not is $1 million question. Okay. And many times they're not been supportive of us. They talk something, they do something, and they talk something else. The three different shades to USA. Right. And we are not on the same page on many issues, like I said earlier. You need a hedge. Is there an alternative for a hedge? What is that alternative? Europe, Japan, Russia, or China? These are the only four. Because you have to have that inherent strength of being neutral, you need to leverage. Why should you go with anyone? Yeah, all these are areas of promise. Europe, Japan, Russia, and China. China also holds promise. China might, when you say RIC, it's not that you're going to be friendly with China, but you'll deal with China and leverage China. There is his mutual requirement. There's a mutual requirement between India and China. And USA also knows that China needs India. And just the way he's dealing in a two-tone relationship, which I showed you in the beginning, at one level he says, I'll do a G2 with them. Or at another level, when he's telling others, don't deal with China. I'll deal with China, you don't deal with them. So he's having, USA is having a two-tone relationship with China. So why shouldn't we? Okay. And use the strength of being neutral, your capability of being neutral. What is that strength? When you say capability of being neutral or non-aligned or whatever you call it, that's your historic capability of being able to tread a fine line. You already conveyed to everyone, look, India will not be anyone's friend. Neither will India be anyone's enemy. We don't have any enemies except, of course, Pakistan and China. Even with enmity with China is nuanced. So there's a new compact which you also are projecting. There's a new strength India is also projecting through its economic growth. So if you are going to be one of the top economies, you are already the fourth largest economy. There's no doubt about it. And you're growing. Hopefully in the next 2 years, you'll be the third largest economy. Okay. Now, if that is so, is there a case for us to rethink our entire strategy and not lean towards anyone? I've always said that the US India partnership will be the most consequential in this century. It will be the most consequential. Okay. The consequences of that relationship would be negative or positive. So, what is this new RIC I'm talking of? The new RIC, whichever way we start talking, not in terms of RIC, but put that thing out in the air. It should be it will be conceptually unstable. Any RIC today will be unstable. Accept this instability. Because instability gives you the leeway to maneuver. You can do what you want. Push and pull. It'll be amorphous. There's no definition to this new RIC, which I'm thinking of. But you need to tell people, look, RIC is there. I'm going to, you talk of it and don't talk of it. RIC, let me be, even now with all what I've spoken, it will never emerge as a block. It's an idea of convenience. You see, the cricks, China, Russia, Iran, and Korea with Pakistan were emerging as a block because they had equations with each other, they had military relationship with each other, everything. There was a strategic value to it. Now that's gone. But RIC will never be in the same league as cricks. It will be an idea of convenience. It is convenient to Russia, it is convenient to India, it is convenient to China. So let's use this idea of convenience. The manifestation will be indirect, not overt. It will be ineffectual. The RIC which I'm thinking of will be ineffectual. So be it. It will not manifest itself directly as a RIC. There will never be a meeting of the RIC. But there are enough platforms where RIC can talk to each other. Just that sheer talk will give messages. It will just talking and opening certain doors to let the air come in will inform the other guy, look, I have options. I mean, look at it this way, very pragmatically. What is the problem between India and China? The border. If tomorrow the two political leaders sit down and say, okay, let's solve the border, give and take something, and maybe done with, then you have no problem. If you have no problem, why not deal with China rather than USA? And to deal with the problem or finish the problem with the border, a good lot of positive equity would have been built up. So in that case, is there something else you can do? So this change of thinking has to be there. You have to have that flexibility in thought process. I'm not for one moment saying again, let's go towards China. No way. China still remains your number one enemy. But you have to start dealing with China differently. Why? It will put caution in the West and USA. And Russia is the biggest proponent of this whole story. We know that. Okay. Now, which are the platforms through which this RIC can manifest itself? After all, If you're talking of RIC, where will it operate? How will it operate? How will it give signals? SEO and BRICS. So let's talk of SEO. Now, SEO is somewhere where we had in the past 1 month, we've had problems with China. We refused to sign the SEO statement over Pahalgam, very bluntly. We also distanced ourselves from the SEO statement on Israel. Okay? And in fact, we said, look, you've given out a statement without consulting us and we didn't take part in the discussion, so we don't agree with it. So you've shown your antipathy. Okay? If you go back in the SEO in 2000, way back in 2018, you didn't endorse the BRI. We also had reiterated opposition to BRI in every SEO conclave. We have never allowed the SEO statement to come out with BRI verbiage. So you built up a wall against China. Everyone knows that. But you can't get out of the SEO because SEO is, largely Central Asian republics with which you need uranium, you need energy. It's not simple. You go to Kazakhstan for uranium dioxide, which you need to run our huge nuclear plants. So to that extent, SEO is mandatory for us. We need SEO. China needs SEO because it's their Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And we've been at loggerheads with China. Fine. If in this you give a minor concession, can you extract a major payoff? Just a teeny weeny thing. So that's something that's fine tuning your diplomacy, which you need to do. A chap who's your complete enemy, he gives you a little concession, then you'll say, okay, can we do something more? He also knows, we also know that both of us our relationship fundamentally won't change. But as a matter of convenience, can we shift our position on an issue? Can we have a convergence on one issue? Just one. That will be a huge shake-up for the West and the USA. Okay, now let's get to BRICS. 23 BRICS summit. Again, BRICS is a huge BRICS. If you take the B and the S out, RIC is in the center. And to a large extent, it's South Africa is virtually marginalized. Okay, Brazil has got weight. But the major part of BRICS is RIC. But here also, in 23, Russia and China wanted a common currency. South Africa went along with it. Okay, it is Brazil and India who said, sorry, we'll not get involved. No common currency, no BRICS currency. We also said, denomination settlement and all can be anywhere else, but not only renminbi. It could be even rupees. Right, so we put spokes in BRICS, and largely if you see writings from China, they say India has been the spoiler in BRICS. But for us, BRICS is a platform from where you can project your own power and counter Chinese influence internally. Okay. Now, there's a summit where neither Putin is going nor Xi Jinping is going. It gives you an opportunity to expand your space. Now, when you expand your space and China is on the back foot, if you give a olive branch to China on a small issue, they'll come forth. So it's a subtlety which I'm talking of. RIC as a concept, amorphous, unstable, subtle stories. We don't have to change your position. You have to give some indications. So that is why I say India needs to engage with this RIC concept to balance USA. We shouldn't cede space to USA. At this point of time, USA is trying to steamroll us. It has backed us into a corner. How do you get out of it? It's backed us into a corner with Pakistan. How do you get out of it? Yeah, you can. There are many other ways. You can use Gulf, like I said earlier, Middle East. You can use Japan. You can use Europe. You can use, Israel. All these fine. Global South. All these are there. But this is one very potent triangle, RIC. If you put, they will understand. They'll understand. They're not fools. Okay. RIC will also put spokes in Pak-China plans. In any case, Pak-China plans are getting hit by USA. So you have to play the insider-outsider game. Are you able to do it? Are you mentally prepared to do it? That's the question. How you handle this game is of great importance. Right? Yeah. That is all I thought I'll put across to you today. How do you play this game? The time has come when you are a big economy, you are a big player, you consider yourself to be a great power, or rather have ideas of being a great power. You should know how to play the big game. The big game becomes important. Part of the big game is RIC. We can play all of the games. So when the scope of what you do has increased. So that is what I thought I'll put across to all of you today. It's a bit off track, I know it. It's contra to normal flow. But if you are in geopolitics, there is no angle which you should leave. You should have a 360-degree view of everything. And that's what I thought I'll put across to you today. That's all I have. If you like this video, do press the like button. Subscribe to Ghana Shot. And also join as members in Ghana Shot.